Hey guys, Richard here with Richard C. Howard and Associates and the Government Sales Momentum Podcast. Just real quick up front, if you want to schedule a consultation with us, you can go to richardchoward.com, go right to consultation. They're free. We'll do a 30-minute consult with you and your business, give you some free tips and advice on your approach to the federal marketplace. But we can certainly talk about our services at that point if you want to. Now, today's topic is how to work with the Small Business Office. And I'm going to focus this on the Department of Defense for this conversation. But, and if you've listened to me for any length of time, you know how important it is to find out about opportunities before the solicitation comes out and how to influence requirements on those. And I do talk about the Small Business Office, but we just had an amazing experience with one of my clients, and I want to talk about that today. But before we get into what happened with them, let's talk about what the Small Business Office can do for you. First and foremost, they're an advocate for small business, right? So I always, whenever we submit an RFI or a sources sought response, which RFI and sources sought, if you're new to the podcast, these come out before a request for proposal. This is when the government doesn't have the handcuffs on, they're finding out about information, and you have a lot of freedom to influence requirements, to tell them, hey, this is what we think you need. And one of those things that you should be recommending if you are a woman-owned small business or an 8A or SDV, OSB or HubZone, you need to be recommending your set aside. Hey, we think that this should be set aside for a woman-owned small business or service-disabled veteran-owned small business. And if you could do that, you've just eliminated all the competition, every other company that doesn't have that certification. In order for them now to put a proposal in, they'd have to partner with you. So you've submitted your RFI response. You have really done a good job of influencing requirements, telling them real specific things that you want to see in the solicitation. And you're recommending that it is because let's say that you're a woman-owned small business, we're recommending that this is a WOSB. And you submit it and they say, all right, we got it. What are your next steps? Well, typically for me, I want a meeting with that program office if I haven't already met with them. So maybe a week later, hey, glad you received this. Can we set up a meeting? A lot of times you're not going to hear anything back, right? So when I submitted that RFI response, I also sent it to the Small Business Office. And I don't mean the big SBA website that you might have done your WOSB certification through or got some research on. I mean that each individual, when you look up a contracting effort, there's going to be a small business office associated with that unit, right? And it could be located on the same base. It could be more of a regional office that covers different, in the military, different bases, different systems. But, the Air Force has many small business offices, for instance. So a little bit of homework, but you find the right one, you send them the RFI response as well initially. Next thing I do with a small business office is I'm going to reach out to them and probably a week or so after and ask for a meeting specifically with the Small Business Office. Now, what they can do during that meeting, there's a couple ways that can go. One, you can find out if they know any additional information about the opportunity you're going after. They may have some details that you didn't know. So some of the small business offices are very plugged in and very influential. Some of them aren't. Okay. So depending on who you're working with, you might have different experiences. But if you have a bad experience with one small business office, I highly recommend that you keep going and keep utilizing this method as you move through your federal marketplace sales. Now, one thing they can do is if they don't know, have any additional information about this particular effort, they can help you set up a meeting with that program manager responsible for the effort. And that is huge for you guys. That's what, whether if reaching out to contracting officers or POCs that you have aren't working, Small Business Office could potentially do that on your behalf. And they also might have contacts that you don't have. So, at a minimum, they should be able to provide you with a couple of POCs that you can use to get into that office. And that's going to help you gain insight. It's going to help you teach the government about your company because you want to be top of mind when the solicitation comes out. Very important for you to do as much influencing and relationship building up to that point. Now, some other things that can happen is they can influence the set aside, right? So in addition to them setting up the meeting, they could say, hey, look, program manager, we've got a woman-owned small business that have come to us that we know that they submitted an RFI response. Why not make this a woman-owned small business set aside? Now, there are some rules about how many small businesses have to have a certification in order to set it aside. Last time I checked, it was 2 or more. But that's another thing that they can do for you, is help set that aside for your small business. And they, again, you might not be the only company that's contacted them. So in aggregate, this can help you out a lot. And by the way, just pivoting back to setting up meetings, if you ever get pushback from the small business office or the contracting office on setting up a meeting, one tactic you can get is if you can get a couple companies that are also interested in the same opportunity and go back to the small business office, it is going to be very difficult for them not to set that meeting for you, to say, no, we're not going to do it. If you have, oh, hey, we've got 3-4 companies, we're coming to you, we're all interested in this, we need more information, they're probably going to have to set that meeting up for you. So there are some strategies you can take if you're working with, a team that's maybe not helping you the way that you want to. But most small businesses are there to help you. So they're a huge advocate for you. And so now getting to the reason we set this up. So one of my clients, same technique, RFI response submitted, we set up a meeting with a small business office. They took it a step further. They said, hey, with your certifications and the way we're not talking, contract vehicles and ways to put you on contract, but they have some interesting ways the government could put them on contract. They said, hey, look, with your set aside and the mechanisms we can use to put you on contract, we're going to pitch to the program office that they take a completely different contract strategy and then just go directly to you, because that's how much we believe in you guys. And so that's probably the best you're going to get. But I mean, imagine that now you have this advocate that's going to pitch, that has a relationship and authority to a certain degree, but that has a relationship with the contracting office, and they're going to pitch for you. They're going to pitch your company, say, hey, guys, we're trying to make it easy on you, and also maybe hit some of our numbers in the same way. Why don't you go directly to this company? Now, this just happened, but whether or not that sole source contract happens, this company is absolutely going to be top of mind for that program office. I guarantee we can get a meeting with them after this as well. So there are a lot of benefits that are going to come from just that one exchange. Took a half hour meeting. So guys, this was a short episode, but if you're in the process of responding to RFIs and sources sought and trying to influence requirements, don't leave out the small business office. This can help you dramatically. So hopefully you could take these tips and run with them, and they help you and your small business. Again, don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. I'm Rick Howard, and I'll talk to you guys later.